Good evening and welcome to episode 23 of the Fatal Vision podcast. This is your
Woo!
yeah, this is your host James McGinnis, and as always in the studio tonight we have
Billy
Billy.
Glidden. Billy Glidden.
Yeah,
Happy to be back, baby. We're back.
we're back. It's This is it, folks. Um, we believe that tonight we're going to get through chapter 9,
It is over
part
for
1.
us. We have reached the end
Yeah, so I mean, at least for this
of
chapter.
chapter 9 of part
Chapter
1.
9 of part 1. So that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a lot of dialogue, and we've decided to split it up. Um, and Billy got the short straw. He's going to be Jeffrey MacDonald, and I'll be everybody else in this scenario.
Yeah, we just figured that it might be easier to follow. We realized last week when we were reading whole sections individually, the way that this just goes back and forth like dialogue in a play, basically, that might be I don't know, just might be easier to follow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And we'll uh we'll take you into this, and whatever comes out, it'll be obviously meant to have been there.
Look, I've been since I drew the short straw, I've been doing some imaginative exercises to try to get into the character. I've been working out with the boxing team here on the Upper East Side, and
Oh yeah?
yeah,
Have
yeah,
you been going to the Italian restaurant in Brooklyn that Jay MacDonald
yep, yeah.
goes to?
I went on Tinder Social to find friends. I met a guy named Cosmo Iacovazzi,
Oh yeah, I
and
remember him. He was in the Jock Club at Princeton.
that's right, that's right. I set my what is it like your parameters. I'm looking for men who are Italian who went to Princeton, and I found a guy named Cosmo, and he and I been hitting up the Italian joints around town, mob controlled.
Yeah,
Been
and you
working
eat the
out with the
meatballs.
boxing
You
team.
just spear the meatballs right off the plate with a fork.
I've been doing a lot of readings at night. James,
All your readings.
all my readings. I watched Easy Rider, and I tried to summon a feeling of contempt throughout my viewing of it. So
Mm,
I think I'm as close to inhabiting the McDonald consciousness as I hope to ever get.
I
But
think you're right there.
I feel ready. I feel ready for this. Um, just thinking about Penny Wells a lot, how hot I am.
Yeah, I love it. So
So let's
that's pretty.
let's fucking do this, man.
All right.
Let's fucking
Um,
do this.
So we left off at a section break, last one of the chapter, and we're going to pick it up now.
Okay.
I will be there starting it.
Hey, man.
Uh, okay, hey man. All right. Captain MacDonald, Shaw continued, having decided to further quicken the inquiry's pace. There are some other things we found in the house, some other questioning we have. We'll present them to you, and if you can explain them, fine. If you can't, we'll just have to worry about that. But I want to get with you on this thing because this like money in the bank to you. This is real important to you. For example, let's start with one thing. This pajama top you were wearing, okay? We've taken this thing and we've examined it under laboratory conditions. We know what it's made of. We know what kind of fiber is in it. We know what kind of threads are in it.
Right.
Okay. Now we have found fibers and threads in various places in the house. And one of the most puzzling things to me personally is that we found fibers from this jacket under Colette's body, strung out under her body. And I'm interested in how they came to be there.
Shaken off, or I don't know, maybe do these things shed? Are they laying all around the house? I mean, I don't know. You mean they're big fibers?
Yeah,
Not
not microscopic. Not a fuzz, Ivory interjected.
not a fuzz?
No, Shaw said. Fibers and threads.
I don't know. I can't answer that.
All right, Shaw said, moving along a little bit further with this thing. How does it happen that the pocket from this pajama top has a little bit of your wife's blood on it? Very, very minute amount, but it's laying in the bedroom. The rest of it, the jacket, is soaked with her blood
I laid it over her.
and with Kimmy's blood. Now, how does that happen?
Well, I'm sure I had blood all over my hands from everyone when I was checking for pulses and stuff.
Yeah,
And when I went back to see my wife, I don't know how much Jesus, I don't know. If I had blood on my hands and I went back and touched this pajama top, could it have gotten on it from that way? I mean, I had blood all over me, you know? I mean, I checked. I know I checked. Cara did. Fuck, what's that word?
carotid.
Fucking. Damn it. Fuck.
You're crushing it. You're crushing it.
Carotid.
Yeah.
All right. Fuck, man. All right. I'm gonna take that line again. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Cut that, Corey.
Yeah, don't worry. It's already all the swearing's been bleeped out too.
I mean, I had blood all over me, you know. I mean, I checked. I know I checked carotid pulses. Did I fuck that up again?
No, you said it okay.
I know I checked carotid pulses in everyone, and I'm sure I got some blood on me from everyone. And I went back in to see my wife again.
Like I say, this is important to you, Shaw said, and I want you to understand what we're talking about. We've got your pocket in one location, and it had a couple of spots of blood on it. Colette's blood. The rest of the pajama top, including the area beneath where the pocket had been, is drenched with blood. But the pocket was way over in another part of the bedroom, away from Colette.
Could it have been torn off me? I mean, in the struggle, and someone else dropped it?
That's what we think, that it was torn off during the struggle. But we have to find a way to get it to the bedroom.
I don't know. Maybe it was hanging on, and when I walked in, it fell off. You know, I mean, uh, there's a couple of ways I could picture it. Either say that when we were struggling, it was torn off,
Okay, we'll say that.
and the person on the way out the door dropped it. Is that possible?
Well, anything is possible, Shaw said.
Right, okay.
Some things are less possible. There was a short pause. Then Shaw said, in addition, we found fibers from this jacket in Christie's room and in Kimmy's room, both.
Holy Christ.
Again, I'm not sharpshooting you now,
No, I know.
but you told us that you took this off in the master bedroom.
Right. Well, now, how about my hands and stuff? Could they be coming from my hands as I was taking it off and walking down the hall? I don't know. You know, I mean, couldn't it have been attached to the hairs on my arm or something and, you know, ripped in the struggle and fall off?
Well, Ivory said, we're not talking about, say, stray thread or a fiber here and there. We're talking about a profusion.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. A perfusion, I don't know. All I can say is that I don't know what this, you know, how ripped this jacket looks. I don't even remember it to tell you the truth. I just remember taking it off my hands. But if it was ripped up, it seems to me that threads could be on them and on me. It could have fallen on them. That's all I can honestly say.
Now, in addition to this, all this, Shaw said, confusing the names of MacDonald's two daughters, we found a fiber from that jacket under Kimmy's fingernail, and it had blood on it, which would indicate somewhere she
Under Kimmy's?
she got her
I don't know. It's pretty obvious what your MacDonald laughed. I don't know.
Well, Shaw said, this is why, Captain MacDonald, we've got these specific things we've got to talk about.
Right.
Because you are the only person who knows what happened in that house.
Listen, I know all about that, and look, all Jesus Christ, all I can say is that it seems to me these fibers in a struggle could have gotten on everyone, and I don't know. I I mean, obviously I wish I can't give you the answer specifically. All I can do is make conjectures.
Abruptly, Shaw shifted direction. At any point during the night, he said, during this checking of your family before the military police arrived, did you wear a pair of gloves?
Did I wear a pair of gloves?
Yeah, you.
Oh yeah, to do the dishes.
What kind of gloves were they?
She usually had two pairs laying there, a yellow thick dish glove and a pair of my surgeon's gloves. I don't know which ones I used, I don't remember.
But did you use gloves to wash the dishes?
Yeah.
Okay. After you realized, after you had been attacked yourself, and you woke up and you realized that there had been harm done in this house, did you wear gloves at any time?
No.
Not to take pulses or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Well, we have a lack of blood in some places where there should be, Captain McDonald, a lot of blood. There should be a lot of blood on the telephone in your bedroom, and there should be a lot of blood on the telephone in your kitchen, but there isn't. The phone is down. It's off the hook. Where's the blood? Did you wipe your hands off someplace?
Maybe on my wife's nightgown or something. Or when I was checking the pulses, what are my pajama bottoms like? I don't remember. Maybe my hands were relatively dry when I picked up the phone, but not before the first call, unless it was on the rugs or, my wife on the nightgown and stuff. But I don't know.
You've worked in the emergency room a lot, Shaw said.
Right.
It's your profession. And you don't get your hands full of blood and wipe them off and not contaminate what you touch. You get blood on what you touch.
Right. Unless it's dry. I mean, if now when I woke up on the floor, if I had been there for a while, it could have been dry and not leave too much.
It wasn't dry when we got there.
Okay, that shoots that down. I don't know.
You know, Shaw continued, I've been thinking about this big wet urine spot there on the bed. Was there a lot?
This happened all the time, MacDonald interrupted. That's not unusual. Every night Christy was in there, just about every night. I try to tell my wife that the way to do it is to keep her in her bed one night, even though she cries. We did it with Kimmy, and it worked. She never again came in, and there was no problem. But Colette, said it was worth getting up for 1 minute every night rather than to have to go through 2 or 3 nights of yelling and screaming. So she usually always came in. She was 2.5 and still had a bottle.
That's kind of unusual, isn't it?
We were real easy going. And if Christy wanted a bottle, well, we decided let her have a bottle. No big deal. Kimmy had a bottle a long time and she was fine. I mean, there didn't seem to be any harm and she was happy. She was a good kid, didn't have any problems.
Christy was pretty well taken care of, it seems like.
Well, they were both taken care of. I don't think either of them were really favored. They were totally different. Kimmy was real, effeminate and a real female. And
You can see the
all
voice of Jeff stuff already leaking in
right.
here.
Yeah, I broke character for a second.
Yeah.
A real female. And Christy was a tomboy. They were both totally different. And I don't think either of them, we loved them both for different things, equally, I'm sure. You could yell at Chrissy more because it didn't affect her. You couldn't yell at Kimmy. I mean, she got very upset if she thought, you were disapproving of her.
What kind of class was Colette in? Shaw asked.
What the heck was the latest one? I don't know. Something literature. I mean, I really don't know. She had just gotten an A in her 17th century English. I don't know. She was an English major and it was some kind of literature course. Can I explain why I laughed?
Yes.
Or may I? Um, so
It's your show.
James and I are in this. Thank you, James.
Yeah.
We're co-hosts. Uh,
Okay.
we're in this Facebook group, MacDonald Family Murders,
Yeah,
and
we can't plug it enough. It's the best.
we love it. We think about it every night before bed, every morning when we wake up. We hope everybody's okay. Even that weird guy that was a Boy Scout with Jeff who keeps telling us
Yeah.
about it. Um,
L- Less said, the better there.
um, but there was a discussion about where the title Fatal Vision came from.
Oh, yeah.
And since everybody listening to this podcast knows about the book, there's one of the Voice of Jeff chapters toward the end ends with the words a fatal vision, but there's a section break. And so there was a debate in the Facebook group about whether these words were spoken by Jeff or whether they were inserted for effect by Joe. Clearly, um, art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight, is in the epigraph for the book, which is from Macbeth. So, fortunately, you and then our friend Matt Zoni um, helped to clear this up. Zoni independently talking to you, but
Yeah, about and even the suggestion actually coming from a colleague or no, a friend at Williams College, but my mom independently corroborated the that's not Jeffrey MacDonald saying talking about Colette and then be like, a fatal vision.
right, right. So, what just happened to me reading this? So, to just clarify something you said,
Yeah.
Zoni, our friend who does a ton of research into this case, pieced together that Joe got the idea for the title from a Williams College professor who was an expert in Shakespeare.
Hmm.
And reading Jeff here, just like yammering on about a real female and a tomboy, and then like literature, this and that.
Yeah.
Just the thought of him pulling out a line from Macbeth felt really funny to me in that moment. So that is my explanation of why I
Yeah.
laughed.
Yeah, there's so much there. There's so many layers to why it's funny. And
Yeah. Yeah.
no, I thought you were going to just say the simplest one, which is that he's making it up because she was in a child psychology class and they might have had an argument about the bedwetting that she talked about at the class.
Well, yeah, of course I know that. And
Yeah, and everyone listening knows that a million times over, but it's still so ridiculous to see it written and hear it spoken. What the heck was the latest one?
must have been. Yeah.
Uh, it's this kind. It's the coming so soon after the bedwetting question. He's like so good at deflecting and
Yeah.
trying to take us off the beam here.
Yeah. What's the last thing I said? Some kind of literature course? She had just gotten an
Uh,
A in her 17th century English. I don't know. She was an English major and it was some kind of literature course.
was she after her degree?
Yeah, in English. She was going to end up, when I got to Yale, she was going to try to, get into Yale or a college nearby. Yale is accepting girls now, and she only needed about a year more. She had 2 years at Skidmore and a whole lot of courses since we've been married, different places. And she was going to try to get a bachelor's in English.
To what end?
Why would you have said it like that?
No, it's just like everybody in my life has always asked me that question.
Yeah, so go ahead, say it again.
To what end?
I don't know. I suppose that she would have liked to have ended up being some kind of an instructor, preferably in a college atmosphere, wherever I was. I was probably going to stay at a university to practice, and she would just piddle, be an instructor, kind of a part-time thing. I didn't want her working with the kids, and she didn't want to work very much. And it was nice, having her around, taking care of the kids and taking care of me.
Shaw intruded upon this reverie.
That's a
I
funny
love
joke.
Joe.
Thank you,
Joe is
Joe.
so good. I didn't want her working. I didn't want her doing anything, and it was great to have her just taking care of me all the time.
Good.
Shaw intruded upon this reverie. Kimmy was in your bedroom, he said, and she got hurt in there.
She got hurt?
Yes,
You mean that night?
that's what I'm saying.
Unless she went in. Now, she hardly ever did anymore. Very rarely would she leave her bed. She was, at the point now where she slept in her own bed and stayed there. Very rarely would she go in with Colette and myself. That was like once a month that occurred.
If she had heard something, Shaw asked, and been awakened, was she the type of child that would go and investigate to see what was going on?
Well, Christy would, even at 2.5, probably. I'm confused by that probably because she was 2.5
Yeah,
when she died.
yeah. She would, even at 2.5, she would have the guts to do it.
But I'm not sure about Kimmy. Kimmy was like, she got bucked off the new pony I just got them once, and she wasn't. Why the fuck is he talking about this?
Yeah.
All right, so let me
Well,
let me
I
try
mean, I
again.
think there's some pretty good. He's trying to get back to a comfortable place, I'm assuming. Like, can we get back to more, less threatening
I bought
subject
I
matter?
bought I bought her a pony. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm a good
And
guy, man.
just talking about her femininity and her submissiveness and timidity.
It took her a while to get back on, you know what I mean? She wasn't a take charge in that, I don't know, that's conjecture, but Kimmy was, she was real effeminate and real soft and gentle, and I don't know. But if she had a nightmare, for instance, the only parable I can draw, there's a Sikh here in brackets, because he should not have said parable. That's funny. But if she had a nightmare, for instance, the only parable I can draw, if she'd wake up crying from a nightmare, she'd just sit there and yell until Colette came in, whereas Christy would come charging into the bedroom and dive into the bed. You know, a whole different way of doing something. If Kimberly heard screaming, I would doubt if she would go and investigate that. She, she's bright and curious, but she's also a very dependent type child, you know?
All right, this is interesting because um, he just learned that Kimberly was attacked in the bedroom, and as a finding of fact, and then he just goes off on these insane tangents to just try to get really comfortable.
Yeah, and,
Like,
and saying that there's no way she would have come into the
yeah,
room.
he's trying to cast like he must be mistaken.
She's so scared.
Yeah, just like Colette. You don't think she would?
Well, she might have. How can you tell really what a 5-year-old girl would do? Well, Jeff, you've just been telling us.
And here's a lot more. He's going to be telling a lot more. There's a lot more reverie coming.
How can you tell really what a 5-year-old girl would do? If you had said to me, what would I expect? Christy, yes, Christy would go charging anywhere, partially because she's young enough, so she doesn't have any fear yet. But Kimmy was always different. She was always, He had to take her by the hand, except in except in academic things. I mean, she was the one that came home and knew how to read and write way too early and stuff like that. But like she'd get pushed around by other kids, whereas Christy would defend her, believe it or not. Sorry, I just had a moment. The 2-year-old would defend the
The
5-year-old
five-year-old,
against the bullies.
believe it or not,
Kimmy
he's
would
just
come.
having.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
He just thinks that they'll go where he's taking them. We're gonna talk about my kids.
Story of his life, man. He
Yeah,
always thinks we're
this
gonna
is
follow him
this is the
anywhere.
tapes. This is the tapes. It's the
Yeah.
story I want you to tell.
Yep. Yep. For listeners of this podcast, you'll remember that was a crucial breakthrough James and I had.
Yeah, about the
Well,
tapes of the Jeffrey MacDonald taping sections. Yeah,
yeah, he's writing the book he thinks Joe is gonna write.
yeah.
Unfortunately for Jeff. Anyway, Kimmy would come home crying, and Christy would run over and crack someone. So, geez, that's the first time I heard that. I hadn't heard anything about Kimberly's being injured in the master bedroom. Mm.
There was a long pause.
Now, I did hear them both screaming, McDonald said, so I think I'm positive it was Kimmy. Definitely it was Colette because she's the only one who would call me Jeff, and I know her voice. I'm sure the other one was Kimberly. See, but I didn't know that what you just said.
Don't read anything into this, Shaw said. But if it comes to this, are you willing to take a polygraph in reference to what we've talked about this morning?
Sure, absolutely.
Well, that's fine. We wanted to get that out in the open. You realize you don't have to.
Sure, that's fine with me.
We might ask you to, just to clear the air here. It was by now 11:20 a.m. How would you like to have a cup of coffee? Shaw asked.
I would. We've talked a long time.
Bill, will you take care of that? Shaw said to Ivory. Show the captain where the coffee is. End of
Scene.
chapter.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just come back into my body as
Yeah.
Billy.
You're really hard. I commend you for taking that on.
Yeah. Holy shit. The amount of prep I did.
Yeah. That's really good. You really owned it. Owned it.
So many meatballs, man. Just so many
Yeah. So
meatballs.
many gosh. The amount of stuff. I like the way you did oomph. I like the way
Thanks,
Joe
man.
wrote it out too.
UMPH.
Yeah.
Oomph.
That's the first but anyway, after like 10 minutes of talking about nothing, I'm like, oh, but that's the first time I heard about that. She was injured in there. Oomph. Isn't it weird that he didn't ask, like, how do you know that?
Right. Just
Like,
accepted it as obvious
yeah.
because he knows that that's true and has to talk about anything else.
And then he just shuts down, and then, like, they just try to freeze him out after he just talks about everybody being Christy punching everybody out, and they
Yeah.
just like let him sit there, and then he's like, I think I heard them both. I don't, but I didn't know that what you just said.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Hmm. Oomph. Yeah.
so we
Wait a
know he's gonna
second.
come back from the coffee and get confronted.
Hold on, James. I'm hearing a
Yeah.
knock, I'm hearing a knock at the door here. Oh, yep. Yep. He's here. He's strutting across the room. He's looking very fit.
Who?
The McDonald Defender has a.
Oh, all right. Yeah, let him in.
Oh man, shit, man, it's a little bit late, isn't it?
Oh, he's been waiting. He's been waiting. He hates this. He hates this interview. I didn't know he had anything to say about it. What is he? What would he say? The trauma?
Hey man, this guy has just lost his whole family and has experienced a trauma that you can't even fathom, and you're nitpicking him and mocking him for getting some details wrong. We're talking about his daughters and how they performed in school. You're mocking him for not being literary. That's a shot at me. I did that.
Yeah.
That's like
Joe saying it wasn't the philosophy that his sister claimed he was so fond.
yep. East Coast writer just
Uh,
mocking this guy. The reverie line was a bit of a knife from Joe.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was so ridiculous. He's talking about like people he just absolutely slaughtered, and so awesome how Colette would just dote on me and do everything for me. I didn't want her working. You know, she would just, I know, she would get her degree and then she would just piddle.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Yeah. She's just gonna sit
Man.
around and sort of piddle, not doing anything of consequence at all.
Anyway, thanks for coming by, McDonald Defender.
Yeah, yeah, he didn't have much, he doesn't have a whole lot to work with here.
We'll see you next week. Well, oh wait, so blood types, blood the evidence, the pajama bottoms got thrown out.
That's right. So yeah, he can definitely take that away from us. The
Yeah.
fact that yeah, he definitely thoroughly wiped his all blood off, all the blood off on his pajama bottoms, so there wouldn't be even a single trace on the phone. Um, and then
I forgot to say something, man. I tried to block this out, but to prepare for this role today, I also drove a cab on Fire Island for a couple
oh, good
of
for
days.
you.
Things I don't really want to talk about
Yeah, it's
on
a
air.
little early in the season, but yeah, I got a letter from a guy. He said that there was a new guy on Fire Island driving cab, and I was like, oh, it must have been Billy. He's out there prepping.
Yeah, sorry, that's just a little Easter egg.
Yeah,
Anyone that wants to
S-
do a deep dive.
yeah, we're inviting it. Feel free. Well, what else is What else is exculpatory in here for MacDonald?
Seems to like his kids, seems to know about their temperaments.
So when confronted with the pajama top stuff, he just goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
And what I've always been struck and sort of haunted by the where he says it's pretty obvious what you're, and then he laughs. Like it's pretty obvious you're saying that I killed them.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just keep on. Let's hope the ominous query
I
sitting
got
up
to
there.
admit, man, this whole thing, it doesn't really sit well with me.
What doesn't?
Just Jeffrey McDonald and the shit he says.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
It does not sit well.
Yeah. Um,
Like he never says anything nice about Kimberly.
no, it's always he's just criticizing them all like, constantly. Like that's what like you go back the last few weeks and like Colette was messy and she didn't. There's always junk piled up in the room and she had drawers full of junk. I could never find a paring knife. Uh, and then she was just gonna take something literature and piddle around.
Yeah.
Kimberly is just such a wimp. She wouldn't get back on the horse. A pony I bought her. It's,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's just so awful to hear him bad mouthing all of them.
It's also weird to hear him talking about a 5-year-old's academic prowess.
Yeah,
Whole thing is odd to me. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's not. It's not. See, the thing is, we play this game with the MacDonald Defender, but a friend of the show who'll be visiting us next week, we
Mm.
think, wrote me an email where he said the thing about it is I know MacDonald did it. It's so obvious that any attempt at balance on this question just ends up seeming really weak.
Yeah, he doesn't have the patience for it.
Right.
There's no suspense around this. Um,
Right.
and then, I don't find obviously what's attracting me and you to this case is not like did he or didn't he? That's never been.
Right.
I've never gotten a thrill out of the thought of like, oh, maybe he's innocent. It's really not an option.
It's interesting when we talked about this for uh like initially years ago. I didn't you tell me that like around the house it was like a like an absolute joke to think that McDonald might not have done it. Like it was just like the most absurd thing. Like when the hair got tested, like wouldn't it be funny if it wasn't his?
Yeah, I know. I joked about it with my mom when they were. It was like, wouldn't it be funny if he was innocent all along? Like it wouldn't, and the wouldn't we actively be rooting for him to have been guilty, even if he was innocent?
Yeah.
And then we were laughing about that, and she's like, "Yeah, but he isn't, and it's not going to be." So, um, but there was some dread. I mean, there was some dread there might be some inconclusive thing. The fact that he was like harping on that brown hair in Colette's hand for so many years as Greg Mitchell's, and then it was his. Trying to pivot immediately to like an unsourced hair is a huge win. Is awesome to watch.
Yeah.
I know we're getting all over the place now, but
Yeah. And
and
then
then
we
the other
go.
thing, I guess we'll sort of tell you what we've been doing with our time or me. I found like I found like captures of like McDonald's like 90s era website, and he used to publish like these like actual letters from Jeff to his fans. And we found one that he wrote after 9/11 where he was like, it's time for America to come together and it's time for me to get out of jail so I can practice medicine and help all the survivors.
Yeah.
Um, I'll share that with the group. It's pretty good stuff. It's just as close as he's ever come to trying his hand at punditry.
Yeah, I gotta
And
admit, I felt some patriotism,
he felt like the rising of the
patriotism.
American spirit
Yeah,
within, yeah.
I felt like I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free.
Oh yeah. And he's also quite comfortable talking about God in these letters.
Yeah, interesting.
Like God bless the survivors and may God see fit to see me freed. Um so Jeffrey McDonald's form of spirituality is I'm really curious in how he squares all that.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
It's all very performative.
Wasn't there like some spiritual moment with a polygraph expert? The guy just told him like, "Hey man, like
Oh, he
who was
told him
that?"
that yeah, after he flunked the exam, he said we talked about it and that there's a chance. Yeah, I think that you pay for your sins in another life, and you might want to straighten this out now and take responsibility so you don't have to pay for it later.
All right.
And McDonald's like, you really believe that?
This is from the civil suit
Yeah, that
transcript.
was Cleve Baxter's testimony at the civil trial,
Hmm.
who McDonald accused of being like an absolute lunatic who would just start asking him about sex with dogs
Hmm.
and Anyway, this we're getting yeah, so it ended up being not not being true, and he had flunked that polygraph. Um,
Okay.
and that stayed a secret for 17 years. And also I'll tell everybody now he's not going to take the one with from the army, despite saying he absolutely will. It's no problem.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
there you have it, folks.
yeah, I don't have any other real updates, we're hoping to have some real exciting stuff to tell you soon, but
Yep.
in the
God willing,
meantime,
we'll have, should I say, did I say his name yet?
no, we'll
I'm
just sort of
gonna
let it
hold off.
yeah, we'll just wait till it's in the can
Yeah.
and then we'll just drop it as a fucking
It'll
bomb.
be a bomb, man. The internet will just be out of fucking control.
Yeah,
Because
all four corners of it.
The Blackburn thing almost blew up in our
It broke
faces.
the internet.
Well,
Oh,
we said we said we had a secret guest, and then I said Blackburn, and then you said you ruined the surprise,
oh, I forgot I did that.
and then we postponed it a few times, and we thought it wasn't going to happen, and
Yeah, I almost did it when I had COVID, and it was going to be a disaster. It was delirious. Would have been really an embarrassment for all of us. Um, so thank God that never happened. And hopefully we'll all have our health when the next special guest comes along next
yeah.
week.
All right, we're gonna stop the recording. Thanks,
Thanks
everybody.
for listening.
Thanks for being with
As
us.
always, keep fighting. It's a good fight
And how do we do that?
by coming to our Fatal Vision podcast
That is how we do that.
every day.
Good night.
Good night.